I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, September the 21st, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Delivering the highest value tub for your feed dollar has been their mission for over 30 years. The most concentrated feed at the lowest cost per head per day. For more information, go to Vitalix.com. Harvest weather is perfect. Now, as soon as I say that, somebody from somewhere between Illinois, Ohio, and Idaho is going to say, no, it's not. It's not perfect here today. For the most part, your weather in your corn belt from one end to the other and top to bottom is pretty darn good as far as for harvest. It's warmer and drier than normal. And farmers like to farm. If you haven't been around farmers, they love to farm when it comes time to farm. Farmers would like to farm more than cowboys want a cowboy. I guarantee you. I mean, you crawl in one of those $700,000 or $800,000 machines, or over $1 million machine, depending on what you're doing, and they're getting off on that more than your cowboys off on a $400 horse they're trying to turn into a $4,000 horse. But you can understand why they're excited about it. Once they get going, they want to keep rolling. And a lot of them do it day and night. But this Indian summer, I tell you what, it's warm and we got low humidity. It's drying that crop down pretty fast, which is nice because it's expensive to dry it. But they're getting started. Haven't moved a lot yet. I was a little surprised by our harvest speed of how we've been getting through the harvest here. But on your corn harvest is 7% complete as reported by USDA, up 2% from last week, which was only 5%, but just 1% down from your 5-year average. So it's about normal. You would think getting this late into September they'd be further along than that, but we get into the big states, Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, Illinois, and places like that here in the next week, probably happening right now. We're going to see some big gains on that going the rest of this week. And like I said, because of the weather, your soybeans have started too. They're 3% done, up from unmeasurable last week, and 5% was the 5-year average, so running a little late. But a lot of people got their corn and beans in a little bit late, and so naturally they're going to be harvesting them a little bit late. But we're going to get into that, and we're not expecting the best. We're not expecting a bin buster this time. It just drug on too dry for too long. And in some areas that we really didn't think was all that dry, like Iowa, there's a lot of damaged spots in that corn crop there. So we're not excited about that. But despite your perfect weather and harvest getting along good, we saw your corn price go up on Chicago Board of Trade futures, and go up significantly, 13 3/4 cents a bushel, and that's a pretty good jump, especially right here as we're getting started into harvest. And then you look at your cash prices, which basically you look at your basis bids, and the basis bids are almost all positive or plus basis bids, and we're right here getting started with harvest, and that is not the norm, especially up in the Midwest, in the heart of your corn and bean area there. But we're seeing that your ranges on your basis, at your country elevators, at your big terminal elevators, all of them are more plus than they are minus, and there's not much minus to them at all. And of course you get down here in the southern plains where we don't make much corn, and it's more so that way, all the way to where you see that your feedlot and cattle feeding operations are paying over $2.50 plus basis. So you add that on to whatever the futures is to get that cash price, making it significantly higher as we get closer and closer to $7 a bushel, which scares the hell out of your people that are trading feeder cattle futures, getting close to $7 a bushel on corn. tack another $2.50 on that. That's getting pretty scary close to $10 a bushel, which you can't hardly feed that. We're going to have to see how they do it in some places, but it is not a profitable venture. But your packers are short bought. We're going to see how short they are momentarily. We did see one little JAGA cattle trade, or actually a few more than that trade in Iowa at 145. That was on Tuesday. But on Monday we saw one deal trade at 147, some better kind of cattle. That 145 that people were getting was on colored up cattle, cattle that were not fully finished, cattle that weren't going to really knock the lights out of their grading and things like that. So just plainer type cattle. And yes, they have those kind of cattle in Iowa also. So you know, that we need to give full disclosure on that. That 145, which was towards the very top end of last week's negotiated spread there, that was on just regular old kind of common cattle, guys. Not the best cattle, and we're just not seeing that many pins of those really high grading cattle like what they're wanting. And we continue to see our choice select spread grow and grow. And these packers are really wanting those better carcasses that they got used to over the last couple, 2.5 years because they were backed up from the pandemic, and those cattle got overdone. But we're still seeing big carcasses out there, but we're not feeding the corn as aggressively as normal because of the price, and they're trying to stay competitive on the cost of gains. Farmer feeders are going to have the advantage, and we're certainly seeing that as they come in and buy feeder cattle. They're just more comfortable giving a lot bigger price for feeder cattle than your commercial feed yards, especially your corporates too. They're just not willing to give that, but farmer feeders feel like they can. You know, they're going to have some on-farm storage there that they probably had left over from last year that nobody knows anything about. They're liable to have some damaged areas that they'll put in on-farm storage there, and they won't sell that. That's going to give them an advantage, and they should have an advantage. They're doing a lot of the work themselves. But let's look at the board on Tuesday. October live cattle futures up 57 cents at 146.30. December up 17 at 150.107. Your back months were kind of mixed from down 25 cents to up 5, but still no major fluctuations in live cattle futures here for the last 2 or 3 weeks. September feeder cattle were down 115 after being up big to start the week at 178.80. October was down 227 at 180.02, almost 180 smooth on October 800-pound steers. They were trading significantly higher than that just not too long ago, but they're scared of this corn and all those positive bases out there that make that cash price really high. But your back months on feeder cattle, shouldn't even talk about the farthest out, which was only down 35 cents, but all the others were down over $2, mostly about $2.25. And that's all your back months except for the farthest out traded. Corn, like I said, Chicago Board of Trade futures were up 13 3/4 cents, making it getting really close to $7 a bushel. In fact, end of regular trading was $6.92. Beans up 17.5 at 14.78 3/4 cents. Your fat cattle trade is not established yet at all. Of course, we don't get anything out of Colorado. I'm going to continue to say that just because I'm hoping we'll get something done about Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act over the next 2 or 3 weeks here. But Iowa did have confirmed sales on Tuesday, 1,400 head at 145. And like I said, I heard that those were just cattle. And then some 227 on a dress basis. Nebraska and the Southern Plains did not have any confirmed sales on Tuesday. Yankton, South Dakota at Stockman's Livestock had over 2,000 head of fat cattle, and the market was lower. Now, most of us think that we're going to be steady to higher on your direct trade because your packers are short bought, and it'd be nice to know how short bought they are if we had Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, they would be forced to tell us how many cattle they have scheduled for delivery over the next 14 days. But we don't get that right now, and nothing to make them do it. So we don't know how short bought they are. But they didn't tip their hand at Stockman's Livestock in Yankton on Tuesday. The typical cattle there were $2 to $3 lower. Conventional cattle sold from $141 to $146.75. Your cattle were non-implanted or drug-free as high as $154.75. Of course, that was a little bit lower too. Of course, we had lower receipts last week and better receipts this week, so that would answer part of that. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts were down 81 cents at $251.64. Selects up $1.34 at $227.23. Slaughter running at a good clip. That we're expecting it to slow up here as your packers are having a hard time filling all their needs, and they've been struggling with dropping box beef cutout values. We're expecting them to pull back, and a lot of them will just do it on their Saturday slaughter. But still, this week they're running really good. 255,000 through the first 2 days of the week. 2,000 better than last week. 14,000 better than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Will Jet with 37 North Realty Group out of West Plains, Missouri, has got a cattle ranch listed for sale in Texas County, Missouri. That's south central Missouri, being a licking area down there. That is cattle country down there, guys. And for you guys that are not used to grass and water, they got plenty of it there. But it's going to be a 417 acre place with 80% of that grass, and that's going to be a little bit of timberland to go with that. It includes 120 acres of hay ground in that open grass country there. It's got rotational grazing set up. It's got excellent fencing there. It's been fertilized regularly over the past several years. Got a 4-bedroom home on it. It's got a shop on it, a hay barn, commodity feed barn, 100 by 220 covered feeding area for backgrounding calves or stockers or even feeding cattle if you wanted to, but that's a little bit south for that. But live water on the place, including springs. Got bunk there, drive-through bunk. It's a first-class operation, working pens and the whole deal. And then it's got a place right next to it that doesn't have as many improvements, but it's got 420 acres, 75% open grass. You could combine the two places right there and have you a hell of a cattle ranch, guys, in south central Missouri. The taxes on the two places combined, we had cheap. That's one thing many things I liked about living in Missouri as long as I did, but the taxes on the both places together annually are only $1,730, guys. It's unbelievable. You could run a lot of cattle on that deal. But check it out. Get a hold of Will Jet, 37 North Realty, if you're interested in that property. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at 176.13. It was basically steady, but up 3 cents, and that's the first time we've seen it bounce up in a week and a half. We've been kind of in a free fall here on your cash feeders of late. Talk about some sales that are coming up this weekend. I'm going to be in Oklahoma City at Heritage Place. Yearling sale, and that's not the kind of yearlings that I'm normally talking about on here. It's going to be yearling quarter horses bred to run. So if you guys got more dollars and cents and you're interested in that kind of thing, you can get on to dvauction.com or go to Heritage Place and you can view and bid that sale. It doesn't cost anything to watch that sale if you're interested in watching those horses go through. If you're in Oklahoma City this weekend, stop by and watch the sale and tell me hello. Let's talk about your big sales on Tuesday. About Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri. They had 1,700 through the ring, a little over 200 in their in-house video that they do with help from DV Auction. Kind of a lighter run for them this time of year. Usually more cattle running, but they've been having record high hot temperatures in that area. People are wore out on this heat. They just figure there'll be a better day to do it, and they haven't seen the big fluctuations in temperatures yet, so they don't figure in a big hurry, even though there hasn't been plentiful rain in that area and a lot of guys are dry. But calves sold steady to $4 lower. A light test of yearling steers is about the only comparison they had on yearlings, and they sold $3 higher. I'll give you that load of steers. Look at this quote, 62 head, 842-pound steers there at West Plains, Missouri bring 173 and a quarter. Pretty good quote right there. How about Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma? Over 4,000 head, including the cows and everything, and I told you about that cow dispersal that they had, but awfully good feeder cattle auction there. You look at this automated marker report, look at your best tested weights in your feeder steers there. 250 head of 7-weight steers averaged 739, the weighted average price of $174.63. That was up $3.50 from last week. 611 head of 8-weight steers averaged $851 with a weighted average price on them of $175.69, and that was actually off $2 like most of our markets have been. 362 head of 9-weight steers averaged $917 with a weighted average price of $173.81. That was significantly higher. Look how close those prices are. That happens whenever your feed gets high. They basically all bring about the same price. Your 7, 8, and 9-weight yearling steers there at Beaver County Stockyards. I want to talk about your Zoetis stick-out sale of the day. It was North Platte Stockyards in North Platte, Nebraska. I told you recently that your guys in Ogallala have taken over ownership of North Platte Stockyards, and they're liking that. It's divvying up their runs a little bit, and their customers that are over east of them don't have to drive quite so far to go to Ogallala, and they're getting some big runs in there, and they had a heck of a good sale on Tuesday. Look at this automated marker report out of Ogallala, or North Platte Stockyards, excuse me. You see 174 head of 7-weight steers averaged 746 with a weighted average price of $184.82. 143 head of 8-weight steers in North Platte, Nebraska averaged $856 with a weighted average price of $177.82. And 201 head of 9-weight steers averaged $927 on your weight and averaged $175.96 on your price. Look at the heifers. I thought the 8-weight heifers sold really well. 116 of them averaged $827 with a weighted average price of $167.47. North Platte Stockyards under ownership and management, Ogallala Livestock. Talk about some individual quotes. A sale barn I don't get to talk about very often, but I really like that sale. I used to go to that sale when I was in management of market reporting in Missouri. Interstate Regional Stockyards in Cuba, Missouri. It's a nice sale there right on I-44. They are a DV auction broadcasting customer there. They get bids on all classes of livestock every week, and they're really big on DV auction broadcasting there, and they're doing a good job of promoting it, keeping it active, making sure they get people approved, and taking bids off of it and selling their cattle higher on it. But look at this load of steers at Cuba, Missouri. 72 head of steers weighed 729 at 185. That'd be kind of south central Missouri. How about Miles City Livestock Commission? Bart Medjed there, they do a good job. 106 head, 457-pound little lightweight steers bring $2.33 a pound. I-40 Livestock, Ozark, Arkansas. They're a DV auction broadcasting customer there. They do a good job. When they're going to have loads of steers in there, or big strings of steers, they kind of gang up on a week, and this was one of their ganged up weeks. They had several long strings of steers in there through the ring at Ozark, Arkansas at I-40 Livestock. The most impressive, I thought, was these 130 head of 819-pound steers in Arkansas, guys, at 174. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday, your Macrocin No BS Top quote for the day come out of Denny Rezac Livestock Commission in St. Mary's, Kansas. 52 steers weighed 784 at $189. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.